Okay, let's start. Thank you so much for choosing this session. I'm not like, it's possibly normal thing for me to talk about this, but it's not 100% like normal for the conference. There is no word agile. Usually I put agile word in there, but not today. We will be talking about some things in neuroscience or what applied neuroscience, how it can help product managers, product owners, so people who are creating ideas and identifying value of these ideas to use their brain more effectively, and what items are crucial for them. By the way, who is product manager or product owner here? And who is not? Why are you here? Why? Why? What's interesting there?
I coach product owners.
Oh, yeah, you coach product owners.
This is the product manager I work with, and I need to understand.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. I hope in the same time, the models that I will describe, they are sort of universal one. I will just make a point about product managers, but those who are not, I hope you will find something interesting for you as well. About me, my name is Anna Obukhova, and I'm from St. Petersburg, Russia. So if you ever wondered how Russian accent sounds like, you're welcome. And so I'm an experienced Agilist, so I started in 2004 and worked as a Scrum Master, Agile Coach, currently as Agile Coach and an external consultant. But my first education is in biology. So I know everything how to make children. I suppose it's extremely interesting, but we have a workshop. So I thought that the topic should be slightly different because practice somewhere. And then I went to IT, then to management and so on. And then I found that the way how we change our processes, the way how we change environments where we work, the way how we reframe words and what we tell people, what we tell to ourselves, how we change the brain, how we change how we feel. Do we feel energetic? Do we feel well? Or we feel somewhere down and so on? And quite naturally, I went to coaching, to psychology, and my recent one is neuroleadership. Neuroleadership is an American Institute of Neuroleadership. It's pure applied neuroscience for leaders. Amazing thing. And few items from that I would like to share with you today as well. So this is neuroleadership, how we work there. And my main thing today is what do we need to know about brain of product managers or for product managers to make them work as effectively as possible. Do you know that? Definitely. It's McLeans Model of tuned brain that we think about our brain that is a solid thing. But evolutionary, it came from, we have our inner crocodile. And it really looks like modern crocodile or a lizard. And it works about fight or flight response, identifying what space we have around us. And do we have enemies on this space? Then we have a next one that is limbic brain. That is our inner kitten or a mammal brain that starts understanding that we are friends, that we are together, that working together we might add some more value in our work and so on. And only then we have this human brain, or what is called neocortex, with speech, with logical thinking, with willpower, and all these things that we identify as with us as human being. There is one very kind of interesting or strange thing, is that reptilian brain has enormous amount of energy, and it's the most powerful part of our brain. Initially, it's our inner crocodile who makes a decision. Then it's our inner kitten who supports this decision. And then it's human brain whose main activity is suppressive one, that don't allow our inner crocodile or inner kitten to do what they want. And so act as a human being, not as a crocodile. But our human brain has not so much energy. And normally it has energy for about 2 hours of active work or for about 1,000 decisions. So after that is off, we start behaving as kittens or as crocodiles. Crocodiles are very, very clever things. They can repeat things. They can see how others work. They can lie. This is all crocodile type of thing. And so we can think about, so depending on how much energy, physical and mental energy, I don't divide them because it's all dependent on each other, depending on how much energy we have. If we have low amount of energy, we have only our crocodile brain working. If we have more energy, we have crocodile and a kitten. And if we have more energy, we can think about that we are human beings. So, and this is the model that I would like to share with you. I think that I've shared it last year as well, thinking about the team productivity. But, so it's the universal one. And the most important, it's sociological one. So we can think about amount of energy that we have. About, for example, for yourself, you can have 100% of energy. You can have 50% of energy. You can have practically nothing. But if I compare to someone else, my 100% can be his 50 because he has a higher level of energy. His internal battery is larger. So this model is made so we are able to compare people. So we can think about, this is the person who currently has 25%. This person currently has 50% of the whole society. This is on the top of the society in terms of energy. So when we think about this, we can compare people. I can think about the amount of energy everyone needs for a certain position. Can we work in an agile team? Can we work as a Scrum Master? Can we work as a product owner? Can we work as CEO? Or is it enough energy, or it's not enough energy to do that? And this is a workshop-ish type of thing. So I will be mainly talking. Sometimes I will be doing like that. It means that there is a question and I'm looking for an answer. But if you have pen and paper, it can be done pen and paper or in your phones, or just remember, select 5, 6 people from your team or with whom you communicate the most of your time. So you can think about work environment, so it will be colleagues and team and so on. Don't include yourself. So 5, 6 people, just like Vasya, Petya, Kolya, Ben, Jerry, someone. Done? Okay. Then I will describe the model. And when you have something like an idea, oh, it looks like him. Oh, it looks like her. So this is type of the behavior I observe in other people. It seems that he or she is on this level of energy. Just make a note. So after this, we will have, against each name, we will have a number, and we will need the sum of the team. So sum and the average of the team. So what's happening? So it goes from 0 to 100, where 0 is a comma. So brain is working, everything else is not. So it's something like social death here. And this is me. This is me. I was a guinea pig or a laboratory rat for this model, for this experiment. So it was created by 2 psychologists. One was psychiatrist, and another, she was psychologist and sociologist, so wide sociological system. And then we used like 1.5 years. There were groups with a different amount of energy, and we gave our input and verified this model, how we behave, how we think, what is our reaction to change to that. So I was involved in this model creation, but not as an author, but as a guinea pig there. On 5%, people start being able to swallow and digest. Very important. It means that person is alive and going better, much better. On 10%, you're able to get dressed and move inside the house or inside the flat. That's it. And you can think about like going from a really, really bad disease. So having from zero amount of energy to going up. This red one is a crocodile thing. Crocodile type of brain, parts of the brain are working here. On 15%, you're able to choose clothes, to prepare food, and make some easy activity for about 15 minutes. Possibly you know these enchanted forest drawings when there is pre-drawn thing, and then you draw them with different colors, but everything is already set and you only need to move your hand. This is type of activity for this amount of energy, it's perfect. And when you match amount of energy and activity that you have, your energy will go up because you do not try to get type of work that requires much more energy than you have. This type of thing will drain your energy. And if it matches, it will go up. 20-25% is now in the workforce. So people can go to work. They can use the known route. If there is known rules, they can work there. It's manual labor mainly, and it's a conveyor. So if you know what to do, you do the same things. It's crocodile again, but it's working. So it can be here. But people are not able to understand when to start and when to finish their work. They need some external signal. It can be a bell, it can be some word and so on, but they are not able to understand that. Okay. On 30%, the next item in the brain starts working. People can select activity themselves, so they're not waiting for external signal. But they still, and the lower amount of energy, they still can't play. Play in terms, it's very important for agile coaches and trainers. When we try to put our team together, for example, using Lego serious play, or the marshmallow challenge with all this marshmallow over the spaghetti and so on. And then we think that these activities people will put together as a team and can transform them into the workplace, use them into the workplace. On this amount of energy, they can't. It's just, I raise my hand, another raise hand, put down, just repeat what you see. You can teach people only inside their work position. But they start get energy from external feedback. If it's a praise, they're happy. If it's not, they're not happy, and so on. So it starts being some external energy that comes in there. Would you like to work with people with this amount of energy? No, not enough. Because this type of energy requires absolute micromanagement. Do this, do that. So this is my feedback. People are not understanding, are they doing well, are they not doing well, if there is no external feedback. So they're absolutely not independent. There is no self-organization. It's still a crocodile. Then it starts being a little bit more a kitten. So people start being able to plan. So they're confident in the normal environment. But if anything changes, they start panicking. Would you like to work with these people? Not enough yet. But why I'm pointing to these 30-35? There is a research over the world, so not only in Russia or in UK or in the United States, that over the world, the average amount of energy in office workers, so already brain workers, is 33%. So this is the level of the environment. This is the level where these digital culture, social networks, television, amount of information, and overall what's happening is trying to move us. So if we don't do anything with ourselves, with our companies, with our teams, everyone will be on that level. So this is the level where environment wants us to be, or pushes us to be. Next. 40% is just not an office worker, but the manager of the office worker. Because there is an ability to manage, because on this amount of energy, people start understanding this is me, this is someone else, and we are sort of not one set of people. So there start being boundaries between people. And people are able to avoid conflicts, to differentiate themselves from the problem, differentiate themselves from the conflict, and ability to change. So people start understanding that change is possible, better not me, better someone else, better the team will be. And this is the classical manager. So who needs some proof that he's a manager, who leads not by example, he's not leading, he's managing, but this is the amount of energy that is necessary for that. 45%, there is a breakthrough. This is the amount of energy where self-organization and self-motivation starts. So the brain, so it's like kitten going up to be a human being, understanding inner desires, understanding what I want, and being able to differentiate between what I want and from what company, society, family, team wants from me. Sorry. And this is different. And what I want is more important. So these people are very difficult to be manipulated. So you need to communicate with these people that that what you ask them to do is really at least linked to what they want to do. Then it will be self-motivation, self-organization, and so on. Its ability to move towards positive. I do something difficult now, it might be something better in the future, classical willpower. And this ability to think, to dream about the brighter future, it starts only here, and it's something that gives energy to this movement, to this brighter future. And ability to handle changes, change is okay, and abstract thinking. So when we're talking about software developers, so it's only 45% with just like the normal professional limit of the abstract thinking, where they're not coders, but they're really software developers and thinking about some complex things. It's 45%. Would you like to work with these people? Yes, at least it's the minimum amount of energy that is required for Scrum team. And for Kanban team, is that enough? Sort of, yeah. If it's lower, in fact, it could be. Because Kanban system is so flexible, so because it's improving the system that you currently have, you can apply it to any. You can apply Kanban to a conveyor. You can apply Kanban to this type of energy. You can apply Kanban to the portfolio management. You can apply it to everything. So Kanban can be applied to any amount of energy. But when we're talking about self-organizing teams, about sort of Scrum teams, this is the minimum of energy we have. 55%. This level is that people understand that these people are interesting. That what they tell, what they think is interesting and worth trying to do what they ask or what they tell, and would like to be like them. It's the start of natural leadership. That, okay, let's go together. Okay, so we will go there, and it's interesting to work and go with you. It's enough to be a top management, if it's not agile one, so for top management to use these abstract structures of teams and departments. And these are change agents. So people understand that change is inevitable, it's okay, it's fine, it's okay to change myself, it's just the normal thing. Who's that in Scrum team? It's a Scrum Master. It's a Scrum Master, so the leader of the team level. Then we have 60%. 60% is a breakthrough as well. When we start understanding that if there is some mental model inside our brain, for example, Scrum or Agile, Kanban, anything like that, and we come to the company and see that it's not Scrum, it's something different. They have another teams, another possibly structures. And if the person has lower than 60%, he starts thinking Scrum to everybody. And so on 60% and above, people start understanding that people can be different, companies can be different than my mental model. And that's okay. So it's pure neocortex thing, ability to compare and ability to survive that others are different as well, and that's fine. And this is the lowest amount of energy, for Agile coaches. Because otherwise, when we come to the companies, if we just put that mental models that we have, we're not flexible enough, and we can make more harm to the companies than good for the companies. So we need to have this amount of energy. And 65-75%. This is the amount of energy that brings social importance, ability to create something that a lot of people will follow, will find interesting, and would like to participate in this product, in this team, in this company, and so on. And on this amount of energy, it's practically impossible not to start something your own. It can be a company, it can be product, it can be entrepreneurship inside the company, but it's practically not possible on this amount of energy just to follow someone, just to be inside the team. So it's something that you are like this type of person from the average. And this amount of energy is necessary to create new ideas. There is some data in your head. There is another data in your head. You observe something, you remember something, you have some experience, and they just put together, neurons put together, and have a new link, a new idea is created. And so this amount of energy is to create really new ideas that no one had previously or never applied to this area or to this product or to this segment and so on. And this is thought leadership. So the majority of people who are creating their own, for example, agile frameworks and so on, whom we admire, who we like and want to use their ideas and frameworks as well, or are on this level of thought leadership. And who's that? CEOs is lower. CEOs is enough, 55% is enough for CEOs. These are founders. Yeah, so CEOs and founders. And these are product managers. So this is the amount of energy that we require from product owners, from product managers, and so on. And see the difference between the environment that we have and requirements that are for these people. And 80-100% is the world level known everywhere. And the difference between 80 and 100% is how many centuries after a person dies, we will remember him. So Elon Musk is definitely 80. So everyone knows him, someone admires, someone not, but we definitely know him. His ideas are world and someone like mass, like even larger level. But if we forget him in 20 years, it's about 80. If we remember for centuries and thousands of years, this is about 100. So people whose ideas, whose presence, whose amount of energy in society level changed the world sort of forever. And it can be good and bad. So it can be good influence, it can be bad influence. So it doesn't matter, it's just the module. It's how do you use your energy. There's no difference. Could you please calculate, make notes about how much energy people in your team have? And calculate the average that is in the team. So what is surrounding you? Oh, I have these just to make you, yeah, sorry. So to remember these, like a very short one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Give me back what you have as average in your team of people that surrounds you. 45? 40? 50, 55? Yeah. Again? Some more? 37? 40? Uh-huh. Yeah. And so When we take this from the environment, we can think about what's the average here, but it's more important for you to know about your team. Because we have something that is called energy gap. So we have the environment, or if you're creating products for the user, for the wide market, you have people whose amount of energy is about 33%. You're creating products for crocodiles. And only crocodiles can understand, so the level of how you communicate, words, messages should be on the crocodile level. Then you have a team. On average, what I hear is about 40, 45. And it's absolutely good because it's about 12% over. So we create really good environment. But again, so this is crocodile with the kitten. So people can understand something, but product managers who are creating these ideas are on much higher level. And there is one problem there. So there are two problems there. First is one called energy contagion, or energy contagion, I don't know how to pronounce this well. It's based on the mirror neurons, and mirror neurons are something that allow us to understand facial expression or put ourselves in some other's shoes and so on. They work behind our conscious mind. These are part of the crocodile as well. And this energy contagion is also working is, for example, you have a team who is in a bad energy level, and then someone goes in and so energetic, nice, and so on. And starting from 15 minutes, the one with a high amount of energy will have lower amount of energy. Those who have lower start being a little bit higher. So the general tendency is to average what we have. And what you have about your teams, what you have about people with whom you communicate the most. If you continue communicating with them, you will have, in some time, you will have their level. And as product owners, product managers, this is not enough to you to be able to do your job well. You need much more, and this gap is really huge. So having these type of conferences, having communities of practice, having a lot of communication with people who have the same type of job, the same amount of energy is absolutely crucial. So your team can work with whom they work currently. Scrum Masters can use some tools to raise their energy for about 5–10% over the team, and it's fine. But having this gap that you have from your users and from your team can't be just done using practices. Create your own team of people who have the same amount of energy because of that. You can't control that, starting from 15 minutes. And the second possible problem is when the energy gap is 20% or more, people don't see each other. People don't understand each other. People even don't find each other attractive. So the law of attractiveness is something we find nice, interesting, beautiful, sexy people whom are 5 or 10% above our level. So it's a little bit, so we understand them. They are practically like us, but a little bit better. But 20% people are from another planet. So they are unicorns. So it can be agile coaches. It can be product owner who comes with a great idea and sees like round eyes, we don't understand your idea. It will not work. Please explain in simpler words and so on. It's not because your idea is bad. It's not because they are bad, but you're talking on different levels of energy and you just don't see that. And you don't see your users, you don't see possibly your team, and they don't understand you. And so these need to be taken into your understanding. Main goal for product manager is to be able to maintain this 65–75% of energy. Very difficult. So you have the most difficult and job ever, ever. And there is a thing called Agile Energy Framework that I put together. It's psychology, neuroscience, and everything like that. And this battery, the resource model that I described, is part of the internal environment. So we can use it to maintain and go up the level of energy in the team, in ourselves, and so on. I have a training based on that as well. So external environment, make it as simple, as stable as possible, so our crocodile don't spend energy on finding enemies. Internal environment, understand the battery, understand ourselves, what we have, what environment we have. Then it's psychological, motivational one, when we have a proper emotional tone, natural intention, and freedom of choice, and then few ideas how to know yourself. And so there are, I know 42 practices in there currently in my hands. About 20-25 of them are applicable for product managers to do that. Others are more applicable for the teams. And I will share one thing that is important as well, the difference in decision making and the type parts of the brain that are working if we're doing different types of job, and how it's important for product managers as well. This is one of the tools from these bunch of tools that I have. It's about decision making. And we have two types of decision making. One is linear or analytical decision making. That is, I possibly know how to solve this problem, or I solved really similar problem previously. So it's normal math test. You have something how to solve that, you have new data, and you apply that. So it's systematic, it's incremental, you can do this in parts, you need to focus your attention on this, and then you will be successful. That's all fine. But it's for linear analytical, sometimes they are called simple problems, because there is already a way to solve them. And for complex problems, where we don't have the decision, when we don't know what solution is, we need an insight. We need these neurons that are in our head to finally find another neuron, to create new neural network and create an insight, an idea that didn't happen in your head before. Possibly that is new for the whole world, but definitely new for your head here. It's sudden, and it's less focused attention, it's diffuse cognitive processing. And the main thing that are in the work of product manager is that two things, that identifying value of the idea of part of the product, of the feature, of something like that. And this is blue type, blue areas in the brain. And this is not about hemispheres. It's not right and left. So it's all in the brain. And this is this executive network that concentrates attention, and this is linear thinking. But creating ideas, you can see it red and yellow. It's absolutely different part of the brain that is creating ideas. That is why when we have a brainstorm, we try our best to divide. First, all ideas without trying to value them, and then valuing ideas. You can't do it at the same time. You can, but the quality will be really, really low, because it's different parts of the brain are used for that. And so trying to identify how the brain is working during these things. We can think about brain waves that are happening. So there are some electrodes putting in the head and then measuring the activity of the brain. There are a few more, but we need these three main things. First, we are interested in is alpha waves. This is something that you try to do on the talks after the lunch. This is, you are falling asleep, but not asleep yet. So it's deep relaxation. It's close, there are some more, but it's close to what you try to do with the meditation and so on. So you are relaxed, you're not thinking about anything, and waves are sort of like that. Beta waves. I hope that you're currently in the beta state. So it's just the normal activity that you're awake, you can concentrate, and so on. And then the gamma state. There is very, very active. It takes huge amount of energy. Very, very active state. And this is when your brain is reformulating itself physically and creating new connections. This is physically when new ideas arise. And different types of work, they set different things in what's happening. For example, linear decision making. You might see this in all time management books. You sort of focus, then you need some rest, then you focus again, then you need some rest, focus again. All these Pomodoro techniques, they are not for creative ideas. They are for linear decision making. So you focus, rest, focus, rest, focus, rest. So no gamma waves, no new connections. You use what you already have. And for example, there is an Iowa gambling task. There is a link. You can play it online, very interesting, with the team. When we try to understand the value and the prediction of the value based on series of our actions, trying to identify which of the cards will give you the most of the money. Type of the game product owners and product managers are continuously doing. Which combination of features will give us the most money, or the most benefit, or the most users, and so on. And we see here anxiety or non-functional prefrontal cortex, this human part of the brain, bad decision based on value. If you have damaged prefrontal cortex, you can't really identify value. And this is one of the reasons why we need this 65–75% of energy to work there. You definitely need your human brain actively working, because if not, you can't identify value. You will make bad decisions based on value, and your product will not be good. And the second is insight. So we can't manage it. We can't force ourselves to make an insight. But it's a well-studied thing, and we can increase the probability of insight. Shout me back where you have your best ideas. Shower? Me too. Exercise? After waking up? In the rain, yeah?
Long drive.
Oh yeah, long drive. Referring to extroverts and introverts, sometimes extroverts can do this talking with someone in a small talk or in discussion. Introverts are mainly in slightly different things. Yeah. Is there anyone at the desk? Okay. Okay, only 4% of ideas were created at the desk. Desk is very good when you need to concentrate and solve linear problems. When you need your insight, desk is the worst thing you can do. And especially it's open space. Yeah, so we have this blue executive network that is focused attention and understanding value. And red is default network, new ideas, diffuse state of mind. So when we need to create new ideas, so linear type of thing, executive network, concentration. And when we create new ideas, it's diffuse state of mind, it's default network. It's what we're thinking about when we don't thinking about anything. We're thinking about connections. We're thinking about other people. We're thinking about ourselves connected to other people, where we are in the society. And in this diffuse state of mind, our brain is working even more active than if we're trying to be focused. And we can see, so blue is alpha, is the relaxed state, and yellow is gamma, is the insight one. So first you need to have a lot of alpha waves. And only then they go down and we have an insight. So first we need to load the network. We'll need to load some data, some ideas that we then process in the relaxation of the default network. And after that we have insight. If we skip this one, think about that we will read, connect with people, try to identify ideas, and then we'll have an insight. No, you will not. And it takes 23 minutes to activate default network. So to create ideas, you need to put data, talk with customers, with the team, read something, like draw, visualize, anything like that. And then you need to relax. Go somewhere, drink coffee, possibly talk to someone, like not about your job, some fresh air and so on. Practically half an hour. And then there is a probability that a new idea will come. Otherwise, there will be only linear types of ideas, the ones that you already have in your head, just trivial ones. Possibly it's not the thing that you will need to. And let's try. You can use it in two ways. You can concentrate and logically think about these tasks, or can make a diffuse state of mind and think about that. There is one word that can be applied to any of these words, and it will take a meaning. So there is one word that can be attached to cracker, attached to fly, attached to fighter, and it will make a meaningful word. Fire? Yeah? Firecracker, firefly, firefighter. Yeah? Next one. Gold, yeah. It's not about the right answer. It's about how you think. It's something that you just, you have in your head, and you don't know where it went from. So it's new neurons just put in. The same thing, next small exercise. What's that? The most common thing, people think about this as an Italy, as a map of Italy. What's that? What do you see? Uh-huh. Coffee. Yeah, side by face. Yeah. Look at these. You had a small insight. You have at least 2 neurons come together. It works only once, because forever. For the whole life, you will know what's in there. So you will have this small type of insight. Yeah. And about insight, so brain state, quite inward-looking, slightly happy, and not working directly on the problem. So if you try to solve another problem and think about that it's half an hour that I can use and then I will have an insight, no way. You will not. And again, there are 2 productivity types based on this type of waves and this decision making. So there are people for whom the majority of time management books are written, linear type of productivity, where people who can solve linear tasks in a linear way. So just take the task, have no major procrastination, just break into some parts and do one after another for the tasks that already have an idea how to solve them. For complex tasks, everyone uses this one. Everyone needs to load their brain, relax, and then get an insight. But there are quite a lot of people who solve complex tasks as everyone, but even for the linear tasks, to fill a report, to write something like absolutely trivial, bureaucratic, and so on, they physically can't just get the task, sit down, do the task, and so on. They try to think about that, then go for a coffee, talk with someone, going to social networks, or try to distract themselves from the task. And then, where internal pressure becomes quite large, they sit down and do this really, really quickly. So the linear type of person will do a report on doing dividing this in several things, doing one after another with small breaks without any major nerve break and so on. Pull productivity type, it will be that people get the task, do what we sometimes call procrastinate for about a half an hour or an hour, then finally put themselves at the desk and do the same thing that takes, for example, like 1.5 hours here at 15 minutes. Very, very short, usually in one sitting, and usually with quite high quality. May I ask you, so why it's called pull productivity type? Because there is a task, then you go around it, do like, then say like, ooh, 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 and you're done. So that is why it's my name. I gave this name. Could you please find a pair or in threes? Could you please discuss what type of productivity person you are? What is your best way of working here? Like 1 minute, please discuss. Okay. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Return back to me. Okay, who has the linear type of productivity? Who has the linear type of productivity? Yeah. Yeah, it depends. If it depends on what being done, it can be linear type of productivity, but you have a majority of the tasks that are complex. The ability to make it in linear way makes you linear productivity type. And it's really beneficial in terms of normal productivity, so you don't need to push yourself too hard to do just trivial things. And the pull productivity type, yeah, and this is a unique thing, because normally pull productivity type is not beneficial in the workplace. You might consider yourself as lazy, as constantly procrastinating, as not using your time as good as it can be. But this is the brain structure that is practically not the must, but is very beneficial to be a product manager, to be a product owner, because this is iterative thing. And this can be iterative, but this is incremental thing. Because you do an insight, you do work in one small sitting, you put inside the brain during this relaxation and default network work, you put result in your head, and you think in chunks of the product. You think in the complete features. You think in complete increments. And this is absolute benefit to be a product owner, product manager. I'm not surprised. So when I'm talking with the product owners, I usually get like that. When I'm talking with Agilists, it's about 70–80% people here, because Agile is, again, iterative, incremental. Normally, in normal population, 70% is linear, about 30% is pull type of people. And if we put this all together, if we can think about manager, you can think about like normal office worker, someone who is not product manager. Manager, to be able to manage people, it's about 45% of energy, that's enough. To be a product manager, 65–75. A manager, stress helps to identify risks. Some strict deadlines can increase performance. For product manager, stress is a disaster. It leads to reduced ideas creation and incorrect value definition. Product manager should have a lot of energy and practically no stress. Manager, feeling happy is not critical. And happiness for the product manager is crucial again. And manager uses mainly brain's executive network, that is concentration. And product manager uses default network, thinking about connections with other people and between things to create new ideas. Manager, to be effective, he needs to strain himself, to focus, to force himself to focus. And product manager, to be effective, he needs to relax. Thank you.